Hello, I have a Sam's Club purchase here today and I figured I would bring you along so you could see what somebody needs to purchase when they have a pretty good stocked pantry already. So what I like to do is stock up for about a year for cleaning supplies, and I was just actually showing my husband that I just a tad bit late on doing my cleaning haul because the last time I had to purchase anything was August 7th of last year. I didn't do quite as many as I would normally do just because I don't really know with a couple less people in the house how much I'm gonna go through. So we'll kind of, if I have to go back every couple of months just to kind of get an idea to gauge, because I just would purchase quite a few, use it until I run out, and then go and get some more. But I figured I'd try to be a little bit more methodical this year with it. So I definitely stocked up on some cleaning items and some odds and ends. So with the cleaning, I do the Downy fresh scent beads. I think me and my daughter are probably the only ones who use these, and I do have a full container still downstairs, so I just wanted to top off what we had. So I just picked up one of those. I really use a very little amount, so it'll last us for quite a while. I just picked up one dish soap. I think I have a small container downstairs, but I just opened the really big size, so this will last us quite a while because we do tend to do a lot of dishes with the dishwasher. So I picked up two of those. I have 3 contact wearers in the house. I'm the only one who doesn't wear contacts. So we're gonna try this solution this time around. There's 3 bottles. I've been buying the more expensive brand. I'm gonna have them try this out and see. It tends to last them a while. Of the 3, I have 2 that wears dailies and my husband wears monthlies. So actually my nephew just converted to dailies as well. So the 2 of them don't generally need to use it as often as my husband, who has the monthlies. If you watched my candied jalapeno video, you saw how frustrated I was with the gloves that I had to wear. So I went ahead and picked up some of these. This comes in handy for all sorts of reasons, obviously. Gloves are just a nice thing to have on hand. I picked up 2 packages of Tums. I'd love for this to last a year, but it's not going to. Between my husband and I having heartburn all the time, it feels like, not so much me. I know what causes mine. He seems to have it regardless. So we tend to go through that quite often. I picked up another 4-pack of just regular soap. I do use reusable, refillable jugs, but I like to have these on hand because every so often your containers can get a little yucky, and it's nice to have just a refreshing container for the bathrooms that I don't have my own actual container. Especially when guests are over, it's nice to have that. I do still have a couple packages of toothpaste from my year supply last year, and that's because I was purchasing a couple different varieties of toothpaste. I had some young ones who preferred a certain type, I prefer a certain type, so on and so forth. And so now that it's just the typical 4 here in the house, we all generally can agree that we like this, and so this won't last a year, but we'll use up what we have downstairs, then go through this, and then I can kind of start to monitor about how many we go through to stock up this coming fall for an entire year. Always need razors. I'll actually just order this and have it shipped to the house every so often. We kind of, whoever needs to shave kind of just uses, all grabs a cartridge, and every couple months I feel like I'm purchasing one. I like to keep a couple boxes of deodorant on hand. I actually just opened the last female one. I still have 2 boxes for the boys. So I didn't purchase any just yet, but this way I know my daughter and I have a backup supply. It's also nice when you are a foster parent, because we don't know for sure if we're done fostering. As I've said before in previous videos, that door's not exactly closed just yet. It's just on hold. There are things that it's nice to have because you don't know the age of the child that you might necessarily be bringing in, and it's nice to have extras so that you know everyone will have their own of something. And I think it's cheaper to purchase it this way than it is to constantly individually purchase what you need. I also find nothing more irritating than having to go into a store every couple of days, every couple weeks on rotation, because it's like Tuesday, I'm out of deodorant. And then in 2 weeks on Thursday, we need toothpaste. And so I just like to purchase everything at one time and just have a constant supply of it until I need to do another big bulk shopping trip. I don't want to live my life in and out of grocery stores, and we did that for a very long time, especially when we had 7 children in the home, couple teenagers. I felt like we were constantly out of something, and it's like, could we go around and make a list so that way I don't have to go back for a little while? And I've just learned to do it that way. I needed more vinegar. We went through the canning season and I opened my last box. It's slowing down, so I won't purchase a whole lot more vinegar until probably the springtime. I restocked my toilet bowl cleaner, and I only needed gallon Ziploc bags and quart bags. I have quite a bit of sandwich and snack downstairs. We don't actually go through a lot of those because when we pack our lunches, we tend to use containers as much as we can. We generally keep the baggies for times where the kids have to pack lunches that they can't take their own actual lunch bag. We're going to be out and about and I don't want to be carrying, lunch bags, that sort of a thing. So I don't really go through that many, but with the garden harvest season and throwing a ton of stuff in the freezer, those are the 2 sizes I do tend to go through the most. Every stock up, I purchase a pack of towels because it doesn't matter what I do, my towels get wrecked in this house. So I just need them. I feel like I probably should purchase more than 1 pack, but it'll be fine. So that's basically all I did at this point for my cleaning supplies. I did go down and do a little bit of an inventory, but like I said, I really just want to see how long it takes me to go through these items to get a better idea. I know how much I purchased last year, but I know the amount of dishes we were doing were a lot more. The amount of laundry I was doing was a lot more, so on and so forth. So when I have to tap into this that I purchased, I'm gonna write the date on it and see how fast I go through it to then get an idea of, okay, there's 12 months in a year. It took us how long to go through 1 container? I will need fill in the blank to get me through the year. So I will probably do another stock up, if you will, come December or January to get me through the calendar year. We'll start doing that way. I used to do from fall to fall. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I did stock up on another bag of pancake mix. My house is most definitely equipped to make homemade from scratch pancakes, and I do that whenever I make pancakes. This is just really nice to have on hand for teenagers, just plainly put, and we definitely go through it. We go through 3 to 4 bags a year. because they'll do it for yourself dinner night. They'll do it for weekend breakfasts if my husband or I aren't making breakfasts. But mostly it gets really eaten up in the couple of months that they're home through the summer and over like winter break and stuff. My teenagers love to cook. They are in the kitchen cooking often, and I like to have just some simple, easy things for them to do. Both of them could follow a recipe, absolutely, but what tends to happen is I'm at work and I'll get questions like, where's the flour, where's the sugar, if we're out or something. So it's just easy, it really is, and I don't mind doing some simple things, and quite honestly, my husband uses it quite often too. Always try to keep some red onions on hand. It'll get to a point here very soon where I personally will not go into grocery stores. I really minimize my time in public in general come the heightened flu and cold seasons. I have an autoimmune disease that I am on treatment for that lowers my immune system. In fact, it wipes it away. Part of it, not my whole immune system, but the part that really makes me susceptible for every kind of cold imaginable. And I find I get sick often just by going into a grocery store, between the handle, people talking, you know, just being in that environment. I get sick quite often. And my daughter does cheer for basketball, and I have to sit in a gymnasium, and that tends to sometimes make me sick, and so I limit when I'm going to the store. Onions, because we love onions, we always keep fresh onions on hand. My husband can eat through this himself rather quickly depending on the mood he's in. He also likes these tortilla wraps, and so he picked up a couple of those. We'll eat through them too. I can make them homemade, but not every single time. Sometimes that's just not feasible. Always have to keep a stock of sour cream. Always have to keep a stock of heavy cream. It's the only thing I put in my coffee besides sugar. I'm not a, International Delight Coffee Mate type of drinker. I don't care for that. I just like plain heavy cream, and I use it a lot in baking and cooking. So I will generally pick up quite a few bottles at a time while I'm there. Holiday season's coming around, so I was scraping the bottom of my bowl, my container over there for the clam bake that we had for some desserts I was making. So I definitely needed to pick up some powdered sugar. I've bought it from Azure. It's a little bit cleaner, but I don't care for it. I really don't. I regretted the purchase. We got through it. Listen, if you're gonna do a dessert that is high in sugar, you might as well just go for what you enjoy. And so this will last me at least a good 6 months, quite honestly. Even with the holidays rolling around, it's not a purchase that I have to make very often. You can make your own. I've never tried. I hear it's kind of easy, but I don't find it worth my time either. Brown sugar I do make myself. I love it, but there are certain recipes in the holiday season that I just don't feel like my homemade brown sugar lends the same flavor that the store-bought does. This will be gone through winter, and then I won't buy it again until next holiday season, which is 7 pounds, and so that'll get me quite a bit. We do love these bacon crumbles. Now, we get 2 hogs every fall, and we have a lot of bacon in the freezer, but it falls back to this is just convenient. My teenage boy loves using these in all sorts of things. I actually find it being very useful as well. But we don't need very many. Once it's opened, you kind of have to work through it. So I just picked up 2, and if I don't have it, it's not a big deal. I have regular bacon that I could purchase and fall back on. But it is nice convenience type of a product to have. This is not something that I purchase all the time, but I figure my daughter and I would actually enjoy this in the week to come for lunches, because she really does try to pack her lunch every day for school as well. And we'll really all enjoy it, but I kind of had some things in mind. So this was just not a typical purchase. 2 bags of broccolini for my husband, even though I'm on an anti-broccoli stance right now. He was on a very strict diet not long ago, and it included broccoli all the time, and I was just tired of smelling it. And I told him it was going to be forever before he could cook it again, and he put 2 bags. He loves broccoli. It's fine, I'll get over it. Baby Bell cheese, because they make great snacks. That's not something that we have all the time either. When my husband goes to the stores, because he's generally going to be the one that goes in and pops in for perishables, he'll get milk, heavy cream, sour cream if needed, and maybe onions from time to time. I might have him pick up things like this, a very small list of maybe 5, 6, 7 items all throughout the winter. We generally don't need to go and do an actual grocery shop through the winter months, especially when I do the pantry challenge that Jessica from 3 Rivers puts on. So we'll get that from time to time. I got 2 gallons of milk. I picked these potatoes up. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm a bit 2 weeks early. It's actually for a dinner. In 2 weeks, we're having all the family over, some extended family for my daughter's 18th birthday. And I needed these potatoes. I really could have waited 2 weeks when I go back to get the shrimp, but they're here. It's not usually a purchase for the winter though. I have the 40 pounds that I purchased from Azure last time. And so occasionally we might be in the mood and need fresh potatoes, of course. And so occasionally then when my husband's going to grab some of these other items, we might then get potatoes, but otherwise I have them preserved in other ways. What I don't have preserved currently, and I was excited to see that Sam's Club had it, I had no idea they had it, cilantro. Freeze-dried cilantro. I picked up 2 items. I don't know when I'll be able to do my own freeze-dried cilantro again, so this will definitely get me through the winter time. I love the beef base. I have chicken on hand. I'm almost out of the beef base in the fridge, and that was my last one, so I picked up another. My daughter loves many things. She's very, she's not afraid to try new things. She will be adventurous, and she loves a lot of different types of foods. She's not picky by any means, except for when it comes to her maple syrup. It's not even maple syrup, it's just sugar, really. This will last quite a while. My nephew will probably use it from time to time too, depending on whatever's easiest for him to grab. She has never liked pure maple syrup. We have tried tricking her when she was younger, and she knew every single time. So I always pick up one of these when we're out for her. I absolutely love these jalapeno and garlic olives. I only picked up one because it's getting hard for us to go through this entire container before they start to get a little funny. There's probably maybe 7, 8, 9 left in the jar. I only picked up one though because they're kind of expensive. So we'll enjoy them, and then I'll get them again sometime down the road. We are a big pizza loving family here, and so I picked up the 2-pack of pepperoni. When I open a package, I will vacuum seal the rest and put it in the fridge for a little while. It'll stay good for some time that way in the fridge, and then if we don't go through it for something else, I'll put it in the freezer. So this will give us probably about 4 to 5 months of pizzas, because when my nephew has friends over and we do pizza night, we'll go through a lot more, but I'm predicting it'll definitely get us through the winter months anyhow. Especially since it's not always the only thing we put on pizzas. My husband loves pork rinds, so as a good TV watching snack for him in the rare occasion he's doing that, he likes to snack on that or peanuts. Ritz crackers. Not my favorite thing because of some of the ingredients, but it's not the worst thing either. This will get us through the winter with chili and soups, things like that. But me and my daughter also like to put this with some cheese and crackers and things like that. Just a thing of fresh grapes for the next week. I try to purchase in season, and so we have a lot of apples in the fridge currently and oranges, so I just picked up some grapes. And then our hens are not laying. They're at a resort currently in our backyard, eating all they want, grazing all day, sleeping when they want. They're on vacation apparently because they're not laying. It's typical, it's common. We have 6 older girls, and then our new hens are only 4 months this weekend. So they've got some time before they start to lay. So it was time to purchase some eggs. And we definitely are an egg-loving family, and we will go through that embarrassingly quick. So, and then of course we needed bath tissue and paper towels. So that's technically my stock up, my grocery haul. I do have an Azure Standard order that I'm going to show you. It comes in a couple of days, so you'll get to see it here after this. And yeah, so that's what it looks like when you keep a stocked pantry. You don't need to go to the store constantly every week, every month. You just come and do a big haul, a big stock up, and it'll get me through the winter at least, because I hate the snow, and here in Ohio you never really know what type of winter you're in for. We've had some mild winters lately. Fingers crossed that'll happen again this year, but we just don't know. And then of course I stay out of as many public places as I can for those couple of months because I don't want to be sick. It's hard for me to, I'm sick a lot longer when I am sick, and so I have not been sick in quite a long time too. So fingers crossed, I don't want to be in the grocery stores with people. So eggs, milk, and heavy cream is generally a once a month stop for my husband when he does need to go in, and that's it. So yeah, so you won't see a whole lot of grocery hauls from me here on my channel. And I may not even do it every single time. I just thought it would be interesting for everyone to see that when you home preserve, you can from your garden or local market, and you kind of keep stocked up, that grocery shopping really isn't something that is a constant here in our house. So hang tight and we'll do the Azure Standard order now. I picked up my Azure haul this morning, and I actually have a small Walmart haul down here that I'm going to share with you as well. I realized after my last Azure order that I didn't go over some of the information that's helpful about Azure and how it works. So before I get into what I purchased for this month, I thought I would share with you. I have several subscriptions that are on auto renew. And I will get those emails to say, like ButcherBox, for example, they will let me know when they're getting ready to pack my box. And then I can go in there and just say, oh, not ready just yet, and pick another day that I might be more prepared to receive that. Azure Order is not like that. Azure Standard is you use it when you want to, you forget about it when you don't. There's no membership fee, there's no subscription, there's nothing on auto renew. You physically have to go in there to load up your virtual cart with the items that you want. You have to go through the checkout process. And it's once you do that, that you now are going to receive your order. And then you have to do that every single month in order to get an order put through. My Azure comes once a month. I have seen where there are places, I think it might be more on the West Coast, I have seen where people do have a twice a month drop. So you'll just have to look and see what's around you. Mine is once a month, and so today was the day, October 3rd, that I picked up my order. I have 30 days essentially now before my next order will go through. And how that works is I have 30 days. Once I say anywhere in those 30 days, I can go in, load up my cart, and I can actually do the checkout process. There's a closing date, and it's usually about a week, maybe 10 days at most, that you have a cutoff, because now they need time to say, okay, this is your official order, this is what we're going to be loading the truck up with, and then we need time, of course, to get it to you. So as of that closing time, which always gives you a specific time, this last time I think I had until like 7:02 p.m. on my closing day to finalize my order if I wanted to put it through. I usually, when I know for sure I'm gonna get an order anywhere in the month, I will put what I need in there. I will go through the checkout process. Until that closing date, I can go back in, remove things, add things, I can do all of that. But once that cutoff date and time happens, you are done. Your cart has now been fulfilled. And if you begin shopping again, it is for the following month that you can put an order through. So you are not held to anything. There's no monthly fees. There's no promises, no sign-ups, nothing like that. You give your information and your email, because that's how they will alert you as to when your truck is on the way. They'll email you a copy of your receipt, all that sort of thing. Now, the other availability that I have done, I think twice in the past, you can get things mailed to you. Not everything though. Things that require it to be chilled, and then I think, well, and then fresh produce, because that needs to be chilled. So your dry goods, and then there might even be some exceptions within there. I've not done a whole lot. I've had very small, I think I've had a total of like 1 box each time come to me of just little filler things that I thought, I'm not gonna go meet the truck for something like this. I figured the cost of what it took to ship to me was fair, considering I didn't want to get into my car in winter. Both times was in the middle of winter, to go meet a truck for just the couple things that I really needed. So those are options to you. I like Azure because I get the availability of things that I otherwise would not within my immediate area. If I really tried to do some digging and research, I might possibly could find these things, but I don't know at what cost either. There are some things I stopped purchasing through Azure because it is not cost effective to do so. That happens. Not everything through Azure is going to be, less money. So that's just a little bit more information about Azure. I will have my link, my referral link, down in the description box. That link is for me to refer Azure Standard. Every single person gets a link. You can refer people as well. So what happens is, if you say, you know what, that sounds interesting, I'm gonna go sign up, I'm gonna place an order. If you place an order, I will get a $25 referral Azure cash. And so the next time I place my order, I can use that referral fee that I gained to apply, which I actually did with this order. So I do want to thank Stephanie. I'm not going to share last names because I don't even know what her username is here on YouTube, but I do want to thank Stephanie for signing up under my link. You placed your first order, and I hope you enjoyed everything that you ordered. I'm thinking, if not as of now, depending on where in the country you are, in the coming days, if not already, you're going to receive likely that first order. And I hope you let me know what you ordered and if you've enjoyed it. But I do want to thank you because I did receive $25 off of my order, which happened to be half of what my shipping cost was. But I had already had Azure Cash, because when you purchase things, you can actually accumulate Azure Cash within Azure Standard. And I had already accumulated $25, and so my shipping was free for this particular order. And I thought that was just really exciting. So I want to say thank you again, and let's get into what I got this time around. So this is a bit of a smaller order. It typically is this time of year. My pantry is pretty well stocked. In fact, it is the most stocked it has been in the 5 years I've been doing my pantry. I had so much come out of my garden this year. I feel incredibly blessed and lucky to have been able to preserve as much as I did. I cut down the number of times I had to go to my local farmer's market, which is bad news for them, I guess. I still had to go just for a couple of things, but I feel like I had hardly been there this year, and that's exciting for me because that means I'm finally filling in those areas that I've been wanting to not rely on other people for and do here at my home instead. And so this time of the year, October, I generally do maybe November, depending on what's going on, but it's usually the October order that I will sort of fill in some small areas, but always restock my dry goods for the winter. I sometimes will get an Azure order in December or January for my citrus, and if I do that and I know I'm running a little bit low on flour or sugar, I can add in some supply then, but I generally do not. I did not do a citrus order last year, and I don't think I'm going to this year. So what I did get were 3 bags, 25 pounds each of flour. This is all-purpose, unbleached flour. It is much cheaper, of course, to buy bleached all-purpose flour from Sam's Club, Costco, Walmart, you name it. I'm sure it's cheaper. But I don't want bleached flour. There are some things that make sense to go, well, why would I buy organic if we're just purchasing junk food anyhow? Why would I purchase this if I'm just going to be doing XYZ with it? So sometimes there are certain areas within my pantry, within my kitchen, within my baking and cooking in my home. Some things I choose to not go that extra mile and pay the extra cost for because it just doesn't make sense for me. And then sometimes it does. And because I do all my breads from scratch, and the only time I don't is when we're hosting huge parties and I have to do a ton. That's really the only time I don't bake my breads from scratch. But all my breads are homemade from scratch. All of my desserts, 95% of the time, are homemade from scratch. And so we consume a lot of flour in all the things that I'm creating here in my kitchen. And I just don't understand the point of bleaching our flour when it's turning into a baked good that you are likely not going to know what color that flour started out as. I don't understand that process other than it looks better, I guess. It looks cleaner, but that's not what I need. I need it to be healthy. I don't want it to be touched and turned into things that it doesn't need to be. So my unbleached organic flour has a little bit of a beigey tint to it. It doesn't bother me one little bit. So it doesn't bother my family one little bit, and I can guarantee you half of them don't even know what it looked like to begin with. And so it is more expensive. This is an area that I don't compromise on. It's important to me, And in the event that I do run out of flour, especially when I partake in the Pantry Challenge in December and January with Jessica from Three Rivers and so many of you as well, if I run low or run out, I do have wheat berries that I can mill myself, which is absolutely the best way to do it. I won't dispute that. I don't argue with that. Convenience purposes, especially through the holidays, I like having it already set for me. But I have a mill that will mill the flour for me, and I have a hand cranked one in the event that something happens and we don't have electricity. So I can use my wheat berries because I have buckets and buckets and buckets of them. Then I also purchased 2 bags of the organic cane sugar. This is not refined like you would find at a normal, well, I know Walmart has other options too, but your typical, I can't even think, Pioneer maybe, I can't even think of some of the brands that they are a conventional white refined sugar. Again, more hands on it, it's going through more processes that it just doesn't need to. We don't use a ton of sugar in the house, but we are not sugar free. We're not anti-sugar. But the type of sugar that we do use, I think, matters. And this too has a little bit of a beigey tint to it. Don't have any, I thought I had my coffee container, but I don't. I was going to show you. And that doesn't bother me either. Tastes fine. It works how it needs to. So this will get me definitely through. My next Azure order will likely usually be in the springtime, February to March, actually. I will likely not have this flour at that point. I don't know how much of my own milling I will have to do by that time, but I will still have some of this sugar because I am still working out of a 5-gallon bucket. And then I have other kind of sugar that I could fall back on. It's a lot more expensive and I only use that really for certain things, but it's there if I need it. I picked up some curry powder, 4 ounces. I don't need a lot of curry, in my house. It is salt-free. It's the mild kind. If you watched my soup video, I made a chakalaka South African dish that calls for curry powder. I didn't have curry powder, but I had a blend I had created with curry powder that I used for that recipe, and it turned out fabulous. But then I thought, well, mental note, I had better add some curry powder onto my list, because although I don't use much, I do use it and was out of it. So I went ahead and grabbed that. I grabbed only 2 things of creamy peanut butter. Peanut butter is something that I don't find it necessary to purchase that has oils in it. It has sugar in it. None of that is necessary. Just peanuts and a little bit of salt is really all that is needed. I only purchased 2 because I actually have a very big bucket of it in my back fridge. It's probably halfway done at this point, but with the baking season ahead, I'm going to be working through that a little bit quickly, and so I don't want to work out of the big bucket anymore. They were out of jars the last time I had to purchase peanut butter, and it is not my favorite method, especially when we don't have a ton of people here to try and consume it quickly. I have a box of 100 AAA and a box of, is it 100 in here too, I think? 100 AA. Christmas season coming up. I go through batteries because I've got lanterns that are lit at Christmas time. I've got other little fun, Christmas decorations that require batteries, but my kids go through batteries like nobody's business. And I'd never seen the batteries on Azure before. I could not believe the cost of these batteries. $24 for 100 batteries. I was like, sold, get in my cart like right now. I was almost tempted to buy more, and I thought, no, you know, let's see how well these work. I don't mind if they're not like super duper long lasting, but I would like them a little bit long lasting, of course. So I'm gonna test those out, see how well we like those. And if they seem to really work well, and I'm not changing them more frequently than maybe typical, I'm gonna stop buying them from Sam's Club because it is so expensive. We have the rechargeable, but everybody is already knowing exactly what I'm about to say if you have kids, and that's how often do those rechargeables make it back onto the battery station. No matter how much I try to stay on top of that, it just doesn't always happen. And so it is what it is. You know, if you can't beat them, join them. So I also got some ACV capsules for my daughter. And then for her and I am trying these probiotics. I typically do not take probiotic capsules. I find there are better natural ways to receive probiotics. However, this year I did zero fermentation projects. I just didn't have the time for it. I didn't want to make space for it. It just wasn't a priority for me. I generally do I don't know how it's pronounced, gardenier. It's the cauliflower, the peppers, the onions. I can't even think what else is in there. And then I do a green bean, and I do sauerkraut. Cabbage. I didn't do any of that this year. That is one of the best ways to get some probiotics, is through a fermentation food. Because I don't have it, I thought, well, I'll give these a try, because if we like these, we seem to be handling them fine. I can have these mailed to me, and I don't have to go for a truck drop just for this and maybe something else, you know. I could probably find this brand somewhere else that I could cost compare as well. Also, your health really relies on your gut. If you have a healthy gut, you will tend to be a more healthy person. I cannot take things that are immune boosting. I don't have an immune system when it comes to the side that protects me from viruses and flus and things of that nature. If I were to try and take immune boosting supplements and all the zinc and all those things that we know that really kind of helps your immune system to really multiply and take on a virus head start, I would pretty much be setting myself up for a lapse in my autoimmune disease, and I don't want that. I'll take a head cold over that, right? And so what I can do though is keep myself as healthy as I can to make it more difficult for my body to kind of receive, if you will. That's my thought process on it. I don't know. It's just what I am telling myself. I feel like there's some, you know, it makes sense, if you will, but I can't take things like I used to, even though I never really got sick often, but in this time of the year and through, you know, the winter, I would take things that would really sort of boost up my immune system and really hopefully then help also to keep me from getting sick, because I don't do flu shots or anything like that. So I'm hoping if my gut stays healthy, and because I used to eat probiotic rich foods, and maybe that helped to lend to why previously, before I started my therapy treatments, that I never got sick very often, thinking maybe there's something to that. Let me know if you found a link and if there's a brand or something that you enjoy. I could buy the probiotic fermented, you know, foods from the store. But when I'm staying out of the stores too, sometimes you still have to worry about what's in the food and so on and so forth, and figure I'll just do this. I still do my own yogurt, and we will be starting sourdough. I picked up 2 jars of the Bread for Life starter from Azure Standard. So this is a little different than like the sourdough starter that you might start at home. My daughter-in-law is really wanting to do sourdough, and so I thought, you know, I will pick one up for her, and then I will start one as well, and we can kind of go through the process together and kind of compare what our results are. So I won't be seeing her for 2 days, so I'm going to go ahead and feed hers and start the process for her anyhow. This is a little different. I am going to start a series going through this journey in itself, and you'll come along with me and we'll see how it is. I've done sourdough in the past. I've kept my starter very alive, very active. It's just certain seasons of life I tend to just not have time for to keep it up and keep it going. I do have a starter that I dehydrated, so at any time if I wanted to pick it back up, I could rehydrate it, feed it for a couple days, and kind of get it active and going again. This is a little different. It's supposed to be maybe not as sour, which is something I would like. I don't tend to love sourdough once we get into the process after so long. It starts to become a little too strong for me. And the reviews I read about this basically said it's not a strong sourdough type of flavor. That's what I'm looking for personally, but we'll see. The longer it goes on, that might change. So I'm excited. If you've tried the Bread for Life starter, let me know. I've been doing a lot of research and looking into it for actually quite a while. And then I finally decided, since things are slowing down for me with preservation projects and all of that, we'll give this a try. On that same note, I picked up just 2 boxes, one for my daughter-in-law, one for me to try, and it's the Bio Nature, I don't know if that's how it's pronounced actually because of the way it's spelled, but it's the sourdough spaghetti. So I thought that would be fun to try. I also picked up just a teeny tiny carton of almond and coconut creamer, both for my daughter-in-law and my daughter to try. They are dairy-free. My daughter is very specifically lactose-free, and I think my daughter-in-law has pretty much found that she more needs to be the lactose-free, but she generally just tries to avoid most dairy if she can. So I just thought that would be fun for them to try because they both love iced coffees. And 2 chapsticks, very natural, very clean. I picked one up because sure enough, one will be lost somewhere. So I just picked up 2. Okay, and then back here I picked up a box of vegetable alphabet soup noodles. That'll last me a year. I don't even have like little kids anymore, but I don't know, there are certain things I couldn't think about making over the course of the next 6 months with winter and all of that coming up and not using those noodles. So, you know, it's just fun. And then every time I do an order, I pick up butter, especially because I know it'll be a long while before I do an order again. Butter is something that I feel like I will put my cost into purchasing a good quality butter. I use it very sparingly, actually, because I have other fats that I prefer to use. But with with the holidays coming up, we do tend to go through butter a little bit more quickly. And also with winter type of cuisines, I tend to do bread and butter, bread of some nature, and butter often with meals. So I like to make sure I have a good supply of butter going into the winter. And then the last thing I do believe that I picked up, that I pick up once a year, is, I usually do 2 sorts of chocolate chips, but I actually don't need the regular chocolate chips. I still have half of a gallon of them. So I picked up the mini semi-sweet organic chocolate chips. I do pick up other chocolate chips from the stores, and I keep a good supply of those as well because we do a lot of baking. From Azure, however, I pick up the regular size and the mini size, and it does tend to last me the year as long as I keep them hidden a little bit, because I have people who will go in and just snack, which is fine for my regular chocolate chips, but these are very expensive. They really are, and that's why I only do about a year. So, you know, I do this purchase once a year, and it's really for the holiday season, and then I'm left with some still to do a couple things throughout the regular season year, but they are dairy free. So I like to make sure when I'm doing certain desserts, when I can make it completely dairy free, I will have the availability to do that and not make 2 desserts for my family members who don't want or can't have dairy in their diet. So that was my Azure order. I actually forgot I have 2 bags of chicken feed behind me here. Scratch and Peck, they're 2 different formulas, and that's just for the start for my girls. I have 1 duck now. I used to have 2, but I have 1 duck, and how many did we say? 16 chickens, 15 hens, 1 rooster. So we have a feed store right around the corner from us, but I do like this. My girls like it, which means I like it, of course, and so I figure I was doing an order, I'll pick it up, but we will supplement the rest of the year with the stuff from our store. So I picked up just a small case of the Viva paper towels. This is used strictly by me and me only. There are certain things when I'm wiping things down and doing things that I prefer this type of a paper towel. I have regular Members Mark paper towels that we use for other instances, so this will definitely last me a good 6 months or so. So these will be tucked away, and I will use those as needed. I stocked up on some of my scrub, what are these? I've got Scrub Mommy, and then I have the, they're called Dish Daisies. They're supposed to go on to a wand. I actually like these just to use by hand for certain things. So I picked up 2 of those. I have a couple Scrub Daddies that I stocked up on a little while ago, and then just some regular sponges. So those will get me started. I don't use sponges for everything, but I like having them, of course, for certain stuff. And then I did need to get more of my glass cooktop cleaner, and I decided to pick up a whole new kit just because some of my other things are kind of old. So I just restocked on that. That will last a good while. I picked up some oven cleaner. I have a self-cleaning oven, but after the holidays and once or twice then throughout the rest of the year, occasionally I go in and just really give it like a super scrub, because it can get pretty bad even after doing the self-clean. It gets off a lot of the heavy, but I like to go in and kind of shine it up, if you will. I definitely needed some barbecue sauce. I don't have any after the last one that I just opened. We don't tend to do a ton of barbecue throughout the winter months, and so we'll be just fine even if we end up not, you know, having any after so long and my husband needs to pick up a container, then so be it. And then we are a blue toilet water household. I like those. Just really helps to keep it clean. But if you have dogs, a big dog like I do, just keep those lids shut so they don't think they have fresh drinking water, because that would not be any good. Okay, something that I really tried to grow myself this year, a goal amongst many others, and many I was able to accomplish this year, but this was a goal, unfortunately, I fell short on. And that was growing my own pepperoncinis so I could pickle them and have my own jars. So I don't know what happened. Again, it being the garden that almost wasn't, my starts, the way they were labeled, that got fumbled. I didn't know what I was putting into the ground. And as it turns out, all of my starts, all of my seedlings that came to be, not one of them was a pepperoncini. That was disappointing. So it is what it is. This year I purchased my pepperoncini jars. I don't usually do these small jars. I usually do a big one because when I'm making certain roasts and dishes, I tend to use, a bigger jar. So unfortunately, what I am also not going to compromise on is yellow food coloring. It's just not necessary in our food. I try really, really hard to avoid food dyes when and where possible. So this was the only size, the only brand, the only jar that did not have yellow number 5. It has turmeric in it for color, and so I just picked up 6. It'll get me started, if not be sufficient this year, we'll see. So at least I have those on hand. I picked up 1 sofrito. I love this, and once I open it, I will then put the rest in ice cube trays and freeze the rest until I'm ready to use, what I need and how much of it would need be. Pickled red onions. I only picked up 1 jar because my daughter loves pickled red onions. My husband enjoys them. I don't know what I feel about them. I've had them and I think I like them. I don't hate them. I tried to do a version myself and absolutely hated it. So I figure I'll pick this up in the meantime, but I am going to work on my own that I don't necessarily need to can. They would just be kept in the fridge because I would just do small jars at a time. But I figured I'd have that on hand. Now, holiday season, I love using these solo cake and pastry fillings because I make kolaczki cookies, and I can never ever find the apricot filling. So I picked up 2 because it's probably one of my favorites, and so figured we'll just have them on hand. They're good for 2 years. Oh, I picked up 3. Did I pick up? I did. I picked up 3. I thought maybe I picked up a different flavor, but I didn't. So I picked up 3 because I can't tell you how long it's been since I found that flavor. Then I picked up some pie filling, peach, cherry, apple. I didn't do any pie fillings this year. Apple season is upon us, coming into a close here by the end of the month, but I'm not doing any pie filling this year. I'm just tired. I'm tired and I don't want to do it. And the little bit that I might actually do, I'm okay with using a store-bought. You do what you can when you can, and that to me is okay. The ingredients really aren't that terrible, although I would have rethought that one if I saw that there was the red dye in it. I had no idea that there would be red dye in there. Doesn't surprise me now that I'm kind of thinking about it, but it's like this specifically is exactly what I would be using in my own kitchen. There's nothing in here that I'm like, well, why is that in there? Okay, that's like the same ingredients I would use in my own kitchen, so that's fantastic. Same with the apples. So I'll have that to fall back on when ready. I also always keep a couple of these milk containers on hand. This is specifically for basically cereal purposes, if we even have cereal at the time, or basically my teenager. In the wintertime, sometimes we can get, not really blizzards, I mean, sometimes they can get pretty bad, but there are times where we're like, well, we're at, you know, a 2 on a level 2, and we really shouldn't go and drive on the streets, but we need milk. Well, I'll have this to fall back on because I do have freeze-dried powdered milk. I don't know that that's our favorite in terms of drinking, but he doesn't mind drinking this. So I just like to keep a couple of those on hand to fall back on. I also absolutely love this chai latte. I picked up 2 because I have a goal this winter to try and make my own chai concentrate. I know I have everything I need to try and attempt it, but flavor-wise, how will I enjoy it? I don't know. So, and then I picked up some teas. This is not the end-all be-all for my teas. I will be going onto Twining's website to order a few, but I have the Mandarin Mint Mindfulness. That just sounded so good, so I decided to give that a try. I absolutely love this Blackberry Apple Cider Digestive Awakening. Does it awaken your digestive system? I have no idea, but it tastes so good. I got this recommendation from somebody else who was just like, it just tastes amazing. And so I always have some of that on hand. And then I really love Lady Grey. So I picked up another box of that. Okay, so my pantry is set. My pantry is full. One thing I still need to get that I forgot from Sam's Club was garlic powder. So I have to pick up a jug of onion powder. So I have to pick up a jug of onion powder tomorrow, actually, because I'm going for a couple things for a birthday dinner. And I am done. That's it. Milk, eggs, and sour cream from time to time is really the only thing my husband will be getting from the stores when he goes throughout, you know, the winter. It'll be exciting to actually bring you guys along intermittently throughout to see like how stocked my pantry is. We'll do a kind of final stocked tour to see all the projects we've come together to do, what it looks like now, and after so long, what it looks like and how we're eating through it. You don't see any meat because I get a steer and hogs stocked once a year. I do my chicken through either Azure or ButcherBox. My goal this coming year is to find a local farmer who could supply us our chickens. My second goal is to raise my own meat birds. So we'll see, you know, how that goes. So my Azure link will be down below. I'm stocked now. My family is stocked. We don't have to worry about going in and out of the stores. I am starting to look at the being cooped up, you know, part of my life. There's several instances that I will, you know, kind of make exceptions for. But, you know, to stay healthy, sometimes I have to just avoid. And so that's where I'm at. And I'm prepared. My house is ready. And I thank you so much for coming along and letting me share with you what I deem necessary for my house and my kitchen and my family. And I'd love for you to share with me some things that maybe you thought should have been added to see whether or not I need to think about that. We are good with hygiene. That was stocked a little while ago. So your soaps, shampoos, stuff like that. I picked up some fillers. So hygiene stuff, cleaners, I topped off what I needed to. Meat is more than good. What you didn't see, which I forgot to mention, are a lot of snacks, preserved, freezer ready type of meals, things like that. I go through different seasons of life, just as everyone else does, where I buy a little bit more of that at times than others. Typically, the only time you'll see me coming in with a lot of pre-packaged snack type of foods, pizza rolls, things like that, is at the start of summer for my children. And really I just do one-time stock, and that's because by then we've really worked down the meat in our freezers and I have room for all that type of stuff. And so I will top my freezers off with that. All of the kids that come over and eat, you know, the friends and all of that. And once they go through it, I don't restock it. So I do try to be very minimal preserved type of a home. We are not perfect on that. You know, there are things we enjoy, but I think in moderation, everything can be okay. So you don't see that, you don't see meat, and that's pretty much why. So I will see you next time. I'm working on using these things. I have a couple more preservation projects that we will be doing together, but mostly now I will be sharing with you how I'm going to put my pantry to use. So we will do a recipe share, if you will. I'll see you the next time. Take care.